Welcome, everyone. We are live, and it's Monday. Indeed, it is Monday. A little bit dark, but you know how it is. And as always, the chickens are well, thank you. They are well. This morning, let me read it to you. I have to see it to read it. To change your mood or mental state, you change your vibration. There's that word vibration, but let's continue. Deliberately fix your attention upon a more desirable state. Will directs attention. Attention changes the vibration. This is from the Kabbalion. To change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. How? Deliberately fix your attention upon a more desirable state. Will directs attention. Attention changes the vibration. The Kabbalion. I think it was pretty straightforward. But let's elaborate. Let's apply it to everyday life, shall we? Let me give you an example. This happened to me on Saturday. I was working with a bunch of people. And I tend to notice things. And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, this is pretty unorganized. And I get annoyed when things are not organized because it wastes time. And then it wastes time. I have to be there longer, and I don't like that. Nobody wanted to be there longer because teardown was at 1:30 a.m. But because they didn't organize themselves better, we scrambled. And of course, that's written all over my face. That was my mental state. Annoyance. Absolute annoyance. And you know me. Somebody gonna get a beating, right? But I digress. Whew. I had to change in order to get the work done. Even though they were unorganized, I still found a way to get what I needed. Even though they complained, we don't have time to look for those boxes. And I said to myself, I'm gonna make time. So I found all the boxes that I could with the stuff I was packing. And that's how I had to stay focused to get my task done. It was either that or argue. Or words were exchanged, yes. But in order to get the work done, I had to turn my mind from the argument to the work. Because if I argue, no work gets done. See, this is what we do as people. Sometimes we want to be right, we want to be justified, which I clearly wanted to be. And instead of arguing, back and forth, because like I said, words were exchanged, but I did what I wanted to do because it made sense. When you just shove things in boxes, some bottles are too large for boxes. That's why you got to put them in the ones they came in. Because then otherwise you can't close them and you can't get all of the product in. And then you're putting them in other boxes and you understand. And so I said, okay, Angela, what we gonna do? It's 12 o'clock. What are we gonna do? You can either stay in this train of thought and beat people with these boxes, or you're going to have to change your attitude. And I used my anger to find the right boxes, as many as I could, and pack them. There was no, you're angry. Don't stew in the anger. Use the anger to get you through your task. When the task is over, the anger is dissipated. So it brings us back to the sentence: to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. Deliberately fix your attention upon a more desirable state. Will directs attention. You know, your willpower. It directs the attention. When you want to move from one place to the next, you have to employ your will. You say, I got to do this task. But what if it's emotional, Angela? Is this the same process? Exactly the same process. Because the emotional, is it anything other than emotional, which is mental? It is always going to be emotional. It is always going to be mental because that's what it is. So if you're facing a situation, an emotional situation, you know how it makes you feel. You know how it makes you feel. That's where you start. Now, do you want to stay in that mental state? No, not if it's causing you distress. Not if it is causing you distress and mental anguish. So how do you change it? Well, you fix your attention upon a more desirable state. You have things to do. You have a job to do. You have tasks to fulfill. Turn your attention there. Go about your day. Do the things you know you need to do to get through your day. Like I said, you've got to go to work. Fix your attention upon your work. How can you be more efficient at your work? You see, because when you start thinking along those lines, you pause the anguish. Because remember what happens, right? We cannot sustain a mood indefinitely. So that's why we change from one to the other. But Angela, isn't that escapism? No. Look at it. You have tasks to accomplish throughout the day. If you're a parent, you got extracurricular activities. Now, if the teachers are on strike, you have contingencies. You have to make other arrangements. You don't have time to sit in mental anguish. You have to get other things done. So you put your attention upon the things that need to be done. But Angela, what happens when I've done all my tasks and I go home and the house is quiet? You do the exact same thing. Turn your attention towards. But here's what we're going to help you to do, because I understand emotional anguish and distress. You know, because when you're alone with yourself, those feelings come back, and here you are, you find yourself crying in the corner. Understand why. Comprehend, understand, same thing, why it is happening. Why is it happening? Because there's a root cause. There's a root cause that continually puts you in that same place, experiencing the same things over and over. There's a root cause. It's not just willy-nilly. But because we are not deliberately changing our mental attitude, we remain as we are. And when we remain as we are, what do? We start to have these mental conversations. We start to have these inner mental conversations that say, see, this is never going to change. See, I'm always going to be the same. See, doesn't matter what I do. That's how we talk to ourselves. And because we talk to ourselves like that, habitually, remember the field. And you will understand habit and persistence, and you will understand how to change. When you are walking along a field, there's a footpath, because that's the one you're going to take naturally. You might not have put that footpath there, but that footpath is there, which makes it easier, and you walk down that footpath, which means you do the same behavior every time. It is exactly the same thing inside your brain. It is called a neurological pathway. It means there's a behavior that you've been doing all this time. And so when you want to change that behavior, your brain says, but wait a minute. This pathway right here is the one of least resistance. I'm going to take that. So when you take the pathway of least resistance, which means you've been doing this thing for such a long time, it can feel overwhelming. It can feel like you're fighting yourself. And that's why we get worn out, because we don't understand what we're doing. When you get up and your body wants to do what it has always done, and you want to make a change, your body's like, nope, we've been doing it this way. I want to keep doing it this way because this is the only way I know. So now, to be deliberate, you must practice doing the new thing. But you see, we want to practice doing the new thing for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And when we, quote unquote, don't see a change, first thing out of our mouths is, see, I knew it was never going to change. It's not that it's never going to change. It's just that you have not set down that new pathway yet. So you have to keep doing it. Angela, how long should I keep doing it? Until you stop asking that question. Why? Because it's autopilot now. You just forget about it. You don't have to think about doing it anymore. You just do it now because the pathway has been set down. Now, an easy way to set down the pathway, we've got 2 options available. Why 2? Repetition, doing the same thing the same way every time, aka habit. The other way is to feel, because it is the feeling that sets down the pathway instantly. It is called leaving an impression. This is why when you get into your imagination and you begin to experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality, and the way it makes you feel will set down the pathway for you very rapidly. We only do how we feel, guys. So you cannot lose, quote unquote, hope. You must understand what you are doing so that when you engage in doing it, you do not become discouraged. You cannot get up this morning and say, ugh, I don't want to do it anymore. Turn your attention upon the task to be accomplished. because you know that when you turn your attention towards the task and you stay faithful to the task, it is accomplished. You don't have to ask anybody if you're going to do it or if it's going to happen. You know that as long as you persist in that behavior, you'll be a pro at it. This is understood because we do it every day. But you see, those things that are near and dear to our hearts, the things that make us say, if I can't have you, I don't want nobody, baby. Those things that make us say, if I don't get this, then life is meaningless. If you catch yourself saying that, understand and recognize that you are in a mental state of desperation. And if you are in a mental state of desperation, there is only one way for you to act and behave. How? Desperately. You have to be patient with yourself. That groove in the field did not occur overnight. It was from many people walking it. So use the principle of correspondence with the field. As above, so below. The field is below in the grass, but the field is above in your brain. Become aware of what you are doing, especially when you want to change. Because here's the thing. You know how the Buddhists say to do away with desire? Because desire brings about pain, is what they tell you. Yes and no. It is the unrequited desire, the unfulfilled desire, that leaves us in a state of yearning. You want it, and you want it badly, but then you start telling yourself it's not possible, but you still want it. That is what the Buddhists are talking about when they say to let go of desire. So if you apply the principle, you can satisfy the desire. You are not meant to live in a state of dissatisfaction and yearning and never fulfilling. Think about how that feels for a moment. You want it, but it is ever out of your reach. Oh, good God, look at how that feels. So, how do we accomplish the satisfaction? Everything leads towards satisfaction. Everything leads towards satisfaction. It just does. So how do you do it deliberately? First, recognize where you are and what you're doing, what you're saying to yourself. That's always the first step, is to acknowledge. Because when you acknowledge where you presently are, then you can say, oh, I don't want that. I want this instead. But remember, it is not about what we want. It is about what we are. What have you become? So how do you become it? Experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. To become something, you must do the corresponding action for it. So if you say, I don't want to be single anymore, I don't want to be broke anymore, I want to be rich, yeah, that's a word. I want to be Buddha, that's a word. What is the corresponding behavior of someone who is in a beautiful relationship? What do they behave like? What does someone behave like when they have no financial worry? Well, their bills are on auto pay, for one. because there's money always there. So it's on auto pay, right? That's the behavior. But now look at the behavior of what they do. When you do that behavior, when you think about that behavior, when you get into the mood of that behavior, how does it make you feel? If it is not bringing you satisfaction, but bringing you frustration, go back to the drawing board and find an action that you would be doing, not what your neighbor is doing, not what your other family members are doing, what you would do. Not what your ideal boyfriend would be doing. No, what would you be doing? What would you be doing? See, that takes your attention and turns it inward so that now you begin. Where are you working? Inside your mind's eye. You are looking for the things that you would be doing that would bring you the satisfaction, the behavior that you would be doing that shows you, oh my God, I'm doing it. Ow, I'm doing it, because you would begin to feel the satisfaction of doing that thing. Now remember, when you begin to feel the satisfaction of doing that thing, you're carving in your brain a neurological pathway. You're not just using repetition anymore. Repetition takes a lot of work. But if you feel it, then the repetition is much more pleasurable. Because now, can you feel it? Can you feel it? You must feel it. Because what are you doing right now? You're feeling whatever it is you're feeling. And you feel it with your whole body. You are feeling whatever you're feeling right now with your whole body. You're feeling it. So, what is the feeling you would rather have? Can you feel that? Because think about it. What is bringing on that feeling for you right now? Your memories. Your mental mood, the mood of reminiscing, is bringing on that feeling for you. So go in the other direction, which is to imagine, to bring about a more desirable state. And the key with the more desirable state is when you're in that more desirable state, remember, because we don't sustain them indefinitely, we just flow in and out of them. But the one you flow in and out of most has now become the habit, and so you will go there all the time. You will go there all the time. This is why when you catch the feeling of what brings about the feeling, what brings it about? The feeling comes about when you imagine what you would be doing. I can tell you, my girl, she's 10 and she's on Broadway. She is on Broadway at the age of 10 in a leading role. Do you think she crawls out of bed in the morning? Do you think she hates rehearsal? No. Even though she might be tired, because that Broadway schedule is grueling, let me tell you. Even though she might be tired, do you know what makes her get up? The thrill and the excitement. So when scripture tells you to become like a little child again, you must have the thrill and the excitement of what it is you want to experience. You cannot say, I want this in my life, but I can't. I don't want to. I want it, but I'm so tired. I'm tired of fighting. You must realize that you're fighting the shadow of yourself. Only because you don't recognize that you're fighting yourself. Allow your thrill, your passion, your inner fire, your inner light. Allow that to rise within you. Because that is what will keep your attention focused on the new behavior, the new you. Rome wasn't built in a day. But you know what made them keep building that city? Love of country, patriotism. This is why when I want you to see I want you to feel what I'm saying to you today. All of those movies we watch, Braveheart, uh, Maximus, you know, Gladiator, Optimus Prime. What do they always do before they go into a battle? What do they do? Even in the Matrix, he goes, if it's our time, it's our time. But let's give them hell before they do. Like, you have to rouse yourself. You've got to put yourself in the mood. This is what every single one of these things do. They put you in the mood. So when you experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality, everybody wants to get booed up. Everybody wants to pull the Dave Chappelle, I'm rich, bitch. Everybody wants that. But are we willing to experience in imagination what we would be doing in reality? Reality emerges from you. So I'm going to say these words right back to you right now. What I want doesn't exist. Do you know why? It's waiting on you to give it life. It is waiting on you to give it life. And how do you give it life? By experiencing in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. I was in a room yesterday, just being a fly on the wall. How to train your wife. God help me. I said, what now? Is she a dog? You see, we always look to the exterior. How to train somebody to be what you want them to be? No, become. Become the man or woman you want to be. And you, by way of the principle of correspondence, as within, so without, will draw that experience. You will live it out. But I want you to taste what is behind that phrase, training somebody to be what you want them to be. Look at it. It has nothing to do with someone else. It has everything to do with you. So then, are we going to take, quote unquote, responsibility for how we use our imaginations? This is why it is called living deliberately. I cannot live deliberately for another. I have to be deliberate for me. So you've got to get inside yourself and look at yourself. I didn't say judge yourself, I just said look. And if something that you are doing makes you turn up your nose and go, ugh, this again. Why does this always happen to me? Because that is your habit. And in order to change, what must we do? To change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. How? By deliberately fixing your attention upon a more desirable state. If we turned our attentions towards a more desirable state, we would have no time to complain because you're busy. You are eager and excited. Because why? It is that feeling that impresses the mind right away. You know when you meet somebody and you're like, well, dang. And they just left an impression upon you. That was a feeling. You felt them. And thereby, they left an impression upon you. So, today, my beautiful friends, turn your attention. How? Deliberately. And the only reason it feels like you're fighting in the beginning is because the old way has been done longer. You are not defeated, my friends. It is only a habit. And now you know how to make one. Deliberately fix your attention upon a more desirable state. You have to determine what that desirable state is. And so when you do that, do it over and over and over again. Go back to the field. Go back to the field. I go walking a lot. I go through fields. Which part of the field do you cut across? The one with the tall grass or the one with the footpath? The one with the footpath. And this is why you do the same thing the same way every time, because there's a footpath in your brain called a neurological pathway. So that's why the behavior persists. But you deliberately turn within and start to practice the new attitude, the new mental state. And with persistence, you will set down a new neurological pathway. And that is how you will behave as the new you. So it is not a matter of, I want this. Didn't Bob Marley ask it? Could you be loved? Could you? Of course you can. How do you want to be loved? How do you want to be loved? Only you can answer that question. And you'll begin to see all the ways in your mind's eye, all the behaviors that you would be doing to prove to yourself that you are loved in the way you want to be. And you see how it makes you feel? It's going to make you feel one of two ways. You're either going to be saying to yourself, all right, all right, all right, this is it. Here we go. Or you'll continually say to yourself, that ship has sailed. All the while, you still want it. So take yourself from a state of longing to a state of satisfaction. That is up to you. Because what we're trying to do in the world is to break the mirror in order to change our faces. No, you have to change the image. So what would you be doing if you had your ideal career? What would you be doing? What kinds of things would you be saying? Well, then that's where we start with that. That's what people mean when they say, become the change you want to see in the world. It means you have to do the new things. Because change is action. So we have to see ourselves doing that action, like the dancer in the mirror. They're doing two things. They're rehearsing, but they're watching themselves rehearse. So you're not just sitting on the bench. You're not idle. You are participating in your change by doing the things you would be doing if you did change. So that neurological pathway inside your brain starts to set itself down. This is why you persist. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why do you persist? Because I choose to. So you must be deliberate, my friends. I am telling you, if you are deliberate, are you not worth it? Listen, I think we need to eradicate that word, if you're worth it or if you deserve it, because that is a judgment. Because if you say, well, I haven't earned it yet. Oh, Lord. You haven't earned it. Hello, honey. Grace is unmerited favor. You do not have to earn anything. Contrary to popular belief, you exist, thereby it is done. You see, because the moment you say you have to earn it, look at what you'll have to do now. So, the mental attitude that you walk with. You know, we try and lie to ourselves every single day. But that inner conversation, that mental attitude that you think is hidden, it shows up in your behavior. So that is why you go right back to the source, the mental attitude. And that is what will change your behavior. I'm done. YouTube is telling me it's 38 minutes. I'm done. Okay. So what does it say? In the Kabbalion, it says, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. How? How do you change your vibration? Deliberately fix your attention upon a more desirable state. Will directs attention. Attention changes the vibration. Sometimes when we give our attention to certain things that we watch, you realize how it makes you feel? That's your vibration. You can feel. So either that thing is going to make you feel, or it's going to make you feel, but that is vibration. Vibration is not this new age word. Vibration is recognized by the sensation of feeling. So that's why when you turn your attention towards something more desirable, the feeling that you have in your body will change to match. And they call it heart-brain coherence. All these fancy words. Because you know how we like the fancy schmancy. But anywho, don't let me keep you this morning, but let's welcome everybody to the space. And I trust. Let me read it to you again. Let me read it to you again. So that the whole purpose of learning is to apply. Is it not? You didn't spend all of that time in school, in college and university, and all of that student loan money to just sit on it. We learn so that we can apply what we have learned. That is cold, hard fact. So today, if you're struggling with something, it does not matter what it is that you struggle with. What? It doesn't matter what it is you struggle with. There's one solution to a myriad of problems. What's the solution? Your mental attitude. How? Let's hear it. To change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. How? By deliberately fixing your attention upon a more desirable state. Will directs attention. Attention changes the vibration, the Kabbalion. So, in layman's terms, your present situation has an associated or corresponding feeling. Whatever you're dealing with right now has a feeling. It is visceral, it is in your body, it is there. You can feel it. Whatever that thing is you're dealing with, you can feel it. So when you are encouraged to turn your attention upon a more desirable state, well, how will you know it's more desirable? By the way it feels in your body. It is as simple as that. And all we get to do is practice it. But Angela, how is it going to turn out? How will I know I got it right? How will I know? How will you know? By the principle of cause and effect. You do not have to force change. Simply select the mental attitude, and that will bring about the feeling in your body. Hello? That's how the body works. Because the body is showing you the evidence of your mental state. Why do you think you can say, well, that's anxiety? Why? Because it's a word? No, because it has physical attributes, meaning feeling. Feelings, nothing more than feelings. But don't get me started. Anyway, pay attention to the feeling. You see, we want to suppress those. You do not suppress them. You comprehend them. You understand them. That way, your feelings don't rule you. When you get a particular feeling in your bosom, you say, that's what that is. Ooh, do I want to be in that? Because if I continue in this, somebody's going to get hurt real bad. So then what do? Turn on your favorite song. You go for a drive. You go for a walk. What are you doing? Fixing your attention upon a more desirable state is exactly what you are doing. So I'm not telling you something you do not do already, because it is the only way that we live, by way of law, by way of principle. There is no escaping the law, my friends. We live according to it. That's why you will always get it right. So the next time you say to yourself, oh my God, I'm so out of alignment. No, you're not. You are in perfect alignment with that mental state. So mentally, as Neville Goddard so beautifully said it, experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the what now? Man or the woman you wanted to be. You gotta see it in your mind's eye. And we always see things in our mind's eye. Do we not? Of course. If I say to you, you gotta go pick up some cream cheese today, well, you know what store you're gonna go to because it's in you can see it in your mind's eye. So don't tell me, Angela, I can't visualize. Visualize is not something you force. It is what you do naturally. We naturally visualize. Naturally. It is only when we try and force things that we are now contrary. You don't have to force yourself to visualize. Get in the mood and you'll see all the things. So, who's here? Oh my God, Twitter is like totally bumping today. There's like 3 people in Twitter today. Ah, persistence, my friends. Persistence pays off. It's Symmetric is in the house. Hey, girl. I see you, Malome. I don't know who you are, but welcome to the space. And I guess that other person didn't want me to call their name, so they popped out. But they were there. So you see, Twitter is twittering today. Who is in these YouTube streets? We have Cyber. Oh, Cyber said congratulations on 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. We did it. Oh my God. Isn't that exciting? Yes, it is. It sure is. Why? You just do it. You just do it. You get up and you persist and you are consistent. That's all you do. That's all I did. And you know, Flo smiles. My girl comes along and she makes these shorts and these thumbnails, and we keep getting that message out so people can change their lives and stop suffering mentally. That's what we do. And my dear, oh, well, grand rising to you too, Liza, darling. Oh, the better man is in the house. Melly Mel is in the house. Listen, YouTube is bumping this morning. It sure is. Now, who's in fan base? Your girl has to scroll so I can see who's in fan base. What? Can somebody say growth? Let's do it. We have, as always, the lovely Miss McQueen. Hey, girl. Listen, we had some Scotch bonnet yesterday, too. Oh, we sure did have some Scotch bonnet. My lips. We got Ray Ray in the house. My sweet KZ is here. Big Mike is in the house. Beautiful Ones is in the house. Oxamite. Hello, darling. I haven't seen you in a while. Lance. Hello, Lance, darling. Lance is in the house. Let me pop into the chat just to make sure. You know what? You are so right, Ray Ray. Ray Ray mentioned in the chat, he says, patriotism seems dangerous, which would be associated with causing a war. But the way we describe patriotism in the aspect, in the context of the principles and the way we live, it is, if you look at it, remember, extremes are where problems sometimes can exist. But with patriotism, you're talking about the patriotism, the sovereignty of oneself, because you have to rouse the self, which means they have to give you something. So when you're talking about patriotism on the outside, like for a country, they give you a reason to support your country, to march for your country. It is exactly the same thing on the inside of the individual. You need a reason. You need a reason. And that reason is the mental mood. That's it. Whew, your girl got to go. I have been yakety yakking for far too long. Anyway, I trust that you comprehend how to apply, because there's nothing worse than hearing something and not knowing how to do it. So here's what we're going to do. To change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. Do you not do that when you turn on your music? Just a good vibration. Doesn't it make you listen? Remember, I told you Saturday I was working the show and the DJ was fire. The DJ was fire. So you know your girl danced all night. I sure did. Because the DJ was like, he made that event what it was. He really did. I just booed him at the end because the show was over. And I said, now I got to work in silence, sir. But yes, it's the music. You see, the thing you feel. So you got to make yourself feel. And the way to make yourself feel is how we do it naturally in your mind's eye. So, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration, change the way you feel. How? By deliberately fixing your attention upon a more desirable state. Will directs attention. Attention changes the vibration. And remember, we cannot sustain a state indefinitely, which means you can't be happy 24/7, 365, 66. You can't be sad 24/7, 365, 66 either. So, how do you fix that problem? By making the state you want to be in your habit. How? How do you make a habit? Doing the same thing the same way every time. So, deliberately go to that new state over and over and over again until such time you don't have to make yourself go there. You'll just go there naturally. They're just states. Well, we can pop in and out of them, but make the state you want. Make that state your habit so that you'll go there more often than you go somewhere else, thereby having the life experiences that match it. Okay? Anywho, my grandmother's rolling. You know she is. You know she is rolling. She's like, you talk too much. Anyway, I trust that it makes sense and that you will apply it today. So don't call me and tell me, Angela, I don't know how. Yes, you do. Of course you know how. You don't need somebody to hold your hand and baby you. You know how to do these things. You just have to start practicing so that you can build your confidence as it unfolds in front of you. And then you'll say, I did it, I did it. And then what else will you say? I'm doing it, I'm doing it, I'm doing it well. Because you don't stop doing it. You don't stop. Because how you can't stop. You can't. We're living. So you do it every day, every moment of the day, deliberately. Right? That is how we do it. This is how we do it. Now that's going to be. Sorry. I couldn't help it. Listen, the next time you change your mood, you'll remember this. Of course, you'll remember this conversation. You remember this podcast. The next time you feel yourself and you're like, oh, and you'll say, ooh, let me play a song. And you'll play one and you'll dance. See? You'll remember and you'll do it because you want to. You're tired of being where you are. Well, then, go get it. All right, that's enough out of me for the one morning. I gotta go feed my chickens. I see he's still asleep, you know. They're both still asleep. Girl, I gotta post a picture of Popcorn. Oh, Popcorn is the man. Ooh, have mercy. He is glorious. He really is a beautiful bird. I gotta post a picture of that feller. And Biscuit is doing well in the flock too. So I got pictures the other day. So I'm happy. And they're doing well. And I do miss them because, like I said, I usually get to hear them every morning, but they're out there in the flock. So I just got my little bit and lady. Anyway, countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Fanbase, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I sure do. Much love.